What if I told you that everything you know about electric cars just became completely obsolete overnight? Picture this. You're driving cross-country and your car never stops for gas, never plugs into a charging station, and never runs out of power. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, buckle up, because what I'm about to share with you will completely flip your understanding of transportation forever. Just when everyone thought they had the future figured out, the entire automotive world got hit with the biggest curveball in history. And the plot twist? It didn't come from where anyone expected. For over 10 years, the smart money was on China to own the electric vehicle revolution. They flooded markets with affordable electric cars, built massive charging networks, and controlled most of the world's battery production. Every expert, every analyst, every industry insider was singing the same tune. If electric was the future, then China was going to be calling the shots. But then something absolutely mind-blowing happened in late 2025 that nobody saw coming. An American tech company, working alongside engineers inspired by brilliant African innovations, just dropped a bombshell that shattered every assumption about how cars should work. They didn't just build a better electric car, they built something that makes traditional electric cars look as outdated as horse-drawn carriages. These aren't your typical electric vehicles. No, sir, these revolutionary machines don't need charging stations. They don't need gas pumps. They don't need anything except the open road. How? Through a groundbreaking combination of wireless energy harvesting and self-sustaining power systems that keep the car running indefinitely while you drive. Think about what this means for a second. No more planning road trips around charging stations. No more waiting an hour for your battery to juice up. No more range anxiety keeping you up at night. These cars literally power themselves as they move. It's like having a perpetual motion machine on 4 wheels. The moment this news broke, it sent shockwaves through every corner of the globe. Politicians in Washington were celebrating like they'd just won the lottery. Officials in Beijing were scrambling in emergency meetings, trying to figure out how America just leapfrogged them in the race they thought they were winning. Automotive executives worldwide were calling crisis meetings, realizing that billions invested in charging infrastructure might have just become worthless overnight. The stock market went absolutely crazy. Oil prices took a nosedive. Electric vehicle companies that had been riding high suddenly faced an existential crisis. And investors? They were moving money faster than you could blink, jumping from traditional car companies into these new self-powered vehicle startups. But here's where the story gets even more fascinating. Within just a few weeks, the first fleet of these revolutionary cars hit American highways. And let me tell you, they looked like nothing you've ever seen before. Sleek, futuristic designs that seemed to glow with an otherworldly energy. Drivers who got behind the wheel described it as the ultimate freedom experience. Endless driving without a single worry about running out of power. This wasn't just a new product launch. This was America making a statement to the world. We're still the kings of innovation. Now you might be wondering, where did this technology actually come from? Here's where the plot thickens. Industry insiders started whispering that the roots of this breakthrough traced back to African laboratories and forgotten prototypes. Suddenly, people were asking uncomfortable questions about who really owned the intellectual property behind this world-changing innovation. Meanwhile, in Beijing, the initial shock was rapidly transforming into action. China's top industrial ministers called secret emergency meetings with their biggest automakers. Leaked documents later revealed their strategy in 3 chilling words: reverse engineer, replicate, surpass. The Chinese research machine kicked into overdrive. Billions of dollars in emergency funding poured into advanced energy laboratories. Within weeks, rumors emerged that Chinese engineers were already testing their own versions of self-powered vehicles, ones that might even outperform the American prototypes. But the ripple effects didn't stop there. Europe was in complete panic mode. Germany's automotive giants suddenly realized that their massive investments in charging infrastructure looked obsolete overnight. Oil-producing nations were facing their worst nightmare. The end of oil dependency wasn't just approaching, it was accelerating at breakneck speed. Saudi Arabia, Russia, and OPEC members held urgent summit meetings, desperately trying to figure out how to slow down this technological revolution that threatened their entire economic foundation. And here's something nobody expected. Africa suddenly found itself at the center of this global drama. Analysts traced the breakthrough technology back to Maxwell Chikumbutso's pioneering experiments. For the first time in modern history, Africa wasn't just a supplier of raw materials. It was being recognized as the birthplace of an idea that could reshape civilization. Sensing both incredible opportunity and serious threat, Washington moved with lightning speed. The government announced a massive national program to mass-produce self-powered vehicles on American soil. Old factories were being retooled overnight. Tax incentives were unleashed like never before. But behind all the celebrations, darker forces were at work. Cyber attacks started targeting American startups developing this technology. Hackers traced back to foreign governments were accused of trying to steal designs. Private investigators uncovered mysterious shell. Companies quietly attempting to buy into American firms connected to the breakthrough. Even more unsettling were the whispers that not all Americans supported this shift. Oil lobbies and traditional automakers, facing potential extinction, began funding campaigns questioning the safety and reliability of self-powered cars. The battle was no longer just about innovation. It had become a fight for survival of entire industries. The breaking point came when China unveiled its own prototype self-powered car at a major auto expo. Sleeker than the American version, faster, and boasting unlimited range, it stunned everyone watching. Chinese officials boldly declared that the future of automotive technology wouldn't be decided in Detroit or Silicon Valley, it would be decided in China. Global media exploded with coverage. Was this the beginning of a new Cold War fought not with weapons, but with energy technology? While America and China battled for dominance, something remarkable was happening in Africa. Global journalists discovered that the self-powered technology could indeed be traced back to Zimbabwean inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso. His early blueprints and prototypes, once dismissed as impossible, had suddenly become the most valuable intellectual property on Earth. African leaders seized this historic moment. In an emergency African Union summit, they made a declaration that sent shockwaves through global markets. If the world wants self-powered technology, it must recognize Africa's role as its birthplace. For the first time in centuries, Africa wasn't just participating in the global economy. It was claiming ownership of the future's most valuable innovation. Meanwhile, corporate espionage reached levels that would make spy novels look tame. Major automakers were secretly negotiating with African laboratories. Chinese companies sent delegations across Africa, offering billions in infrastructure deals in exchange for exclusive access to local innovators. Startups in Kenya, Nigeria, and Ghana suddenly found themselves courted by venture capitalists from both America and China. But the competition wasn't clean. Reports emerged of stolen laptops, hacked encrypted communications, and shadowy consultants trading secrets to the highest bidder. The race for energy independence had transformed into a real-life thriller. As all this drama unfolded behind closed doors, ordinary people began grasping just how much was at stake. Imagine never paying for fuel again, never waiting in charging lines, cars that could run for decades without ever stopping for energy. Social media exploded with viral videos. Americans driving coast to coast without refueling, Chinese prototypes racing at record speeds, African engineers showcasing garage-built cars that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Consumers wanted access immediately. Waiting lists grew longer by the day. Governments scrambled to control the rollout before public demand created chaos. Unconfirmed reports hinted at secret meetings between tech giants, not governments but the companies themselves. Representatives from major automakers and mysterious African startups allegedly met to discuss whether this technology should remain open source or be tightly controlled. But according to insiders, these talks collapsed within hours. Nobody was willing to share power, making the race fiercer than ever. Markets trembled with uncertainty. Oil-dependent nations panicked as their economic foundations cracked. The public sensed this wasn't just about cars anymore. This was about who would control the keys to the next era of human civilization. Then came reports of something even more shocking. Whispers circulated that the first self-powered aircraft was already in development. a technology that could revolutionize not only transportation but global defense strategies. The rumors proved accurate. Just months after self-powered cars hit the roads, the world witnessed something unprecedented: a self-powered aircraft lifting into the skies without jet fuel, without batteries, without limits. Military officials watched in amazement. Airlines faced existential panic. Oil executives fell silent, because if cars had destabilized the global economy, aircraft would obliterate fossil fuel's last stronghold. By this point, the world had clearly divided into three camps. America was mass-producing self-powered cars and preparing aircraft fleets. China was replicating and scaling the technology faster than anyone else, driven by state power and industrial might. Africa was leveraging its moral authority as the birthplace of the innovation to command global respect and partnerships. Oil-dependent nations found themselves desperately searching for ways to remain relevant in this new world order. By 2028, global oil demand had plummeted by nearly 40%. Gas stations worldwide began shutting down. Petrochemical giants declared bankruptcy. Entire nations that had thrived on oil wealth faced economic collapse. This was the largest economic transformation since the Industrial Revolution, powered not by coal or steam, but by endless energy harvested from the environment itself. For a terrifying moment, the world teetered on the brink of chaos. American and Chinese fleets prepared for potential confrontation. Spy wars escalated. Markets crashed. But then something unexpected happened that changed everything. Instead of destroying each other, world leaders agreed to what historians would later call the Nairobi Accord, a groundbreaking agreement signed in Kenya that opened self-powered technology to the world under shared patents, ensuring no single nation could dominate. Africa, recognized as the origin point, received royalties and partnerships that transformed it into a global innovation hub. The result was a balance of power unseen for centuries. By the 2030s, self-powered technology wasn't limited to cars and planes. It powered homes, entire cities, and even spacecraft. Humanity had entered a new golden age, an era no longer chained to oil, lithium, or finite energy sources. What started as a shocking announcement about a car that never needed charging had evolved into a worldwide transformation of civilization itself. The rivalry between nations, between old energy and new innovation, was never just about transportation. It was about humanity's future, and in the end, the real winner wasn't any single company or nation. It was the world itself, a world finally free from the limits of traditional energy, driving toward a future without boundaries. So the next time someone tells you that revolutionary change is impossible, remember this story. Remember how quickly everything we thought we knew about energy and transportation became history. Because if there's one thing this incredible journey teaches us, it's that the future doesn't always come from where we expect, and it arrives faster than we can imagine. What do you think about this energy revolution? Could self-powered technology really reshape our world this dramatically? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if this story blew your mind as much as it blew mine. And hey, make sure you subscribe because trust me, if this is what's happening now, you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next.